With anticipation and Golden Bid come away running for the lead. Golden Bid ahead in front with anticipation, pressing the pace from the outside. Here's King Roland running up into third now, and King Roland just a length off the pace. Canfield Casino a further half length back down toward the fence, running in fourth. 3 lengths then to Uncle Norman, who's in company there with Wonder Babe Safari right there too in seventh.
Sports Edge, more than just the game. Are you a sports fanatic, lover of the games, or simply interested in what takes place on and off the field? I'm definitely all three. Be sure to join me, Mariah Ramharak, each and every Friday from 5 till 5:30 p.m. for our brand new show, Sports Edge. Here we get to know a bit about the players as we delve into what takes place behind the scenes. Don't miss it right here on your very best radio and TV geography. Sports Edge, more than just the game. Sitaram, and a special welcome to all listeners and viewers on radio and TV geography. Of course, you're tuned in to the first episode of Sports Edge right here on your very best radio and TV geography. I'm your host, Mariah Ramharak, and today, as you all can notice, we're here at the Santa Rosa Park in O'Mara, Arima, and we have been actually finding out what goes on behind the scenes of horse racing. So I was able, to catch up with a lot of the athletes. We're going to be talking to the trainers. We're going to give you an actual insight into what takes place here at the Santa Rosa Park. So I want to invite you all viewers and listeners who are definite sport fanatics to sit back, relax as we take you through what takes place in horse racing. Do enjoy. So of course, to our listeners and viewers tuned in, you are watching Sports Edge, more than just the game. So we're here at Santa Rosa Park in Arima, and we're going to be speaking a bit now with Mr. Nicholas Chady. Nicholas, welcome to the show.
Hi.
Alright, can you introduce yourself to our listeners and viewers?
Well, my name is Nicholas Chady, and I am the racetrack announcer, have been so for 19 years. I'm also the assistant racing secretary here at the track, which means along with the racing secretary, we put the races together. I also do handicapping and a whole bunch of other stuff, including our Facebook page too.
Alright, so viewers and listeners, you definitely are in for a treat today on today's show. We're going to jump in the car and we're going to take you on a tour. So I hope you're excited.
It's the grand tour of the races.
Alright, so stay tuned.
Alright, so on a race day, the grooms will come here, take their horses out, get them ready, and they go over to the walking area, which is back around by the grandstand, and they will then saddle the horses for the jockeys with the trainers, and they'll be ready to run. So let's take a walk across to where, in fact let's drive across because it's a big paddock. Let's drive across to where they saddle the horses on the race days. Alright, so here we are at the walking area. If you pan across here, you'll see 1 to 18, 16 horses can run on any race, any given race on any day. And they will each go into their stall here, and their trainer and their groom will put on the tack, the saddle, what have you, the equipment, and they will get them ready for the jockey to jump on them. If you look over here, this is where the crowd will be, up in the balcony or around the saddling area here, looking at the horses and wondering to themselves, hey, should I bet 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, or all of them?
Well, that seems very exciting, and to our viewers and listeners who are excited about horse racing, it's a good experience to come down, experience all local culture, be here around, what really takes place.
One of the greatest things about being in horse racing, any part of the world, is actually being an owner of a horse and seeing your horse thunder down the stretch. You were talking about heart.
Yeah.
That is where heart really comes in the game.
because you're, very excited. It's like watching one of your own on the field,
Yeah, great stuff. So the next step, we're imagining here that it's race day. The next step, the horses will be on the track, and then the track announcer will call the race for you. We're going to take a look at that next.
So horse racing is definitely an exciting sport. As to those of you who are tuned in and you're watching, there's so much we can learn. Many a times we miss all the actual work that goes into the one-on-one, the training, the diet, the nutrition. But now, as you all can see, I'm here with Nicholas Cheney again, and we're going to take you now to the Justice
Wendell Kangaloo member stand level 2. There are 3 levels of the grandstand: ground floor, level 1, and member stand. We're heading there now.
Would you say you love what you do?
Absolutely. After 19 years, yes. Love is an understatement for horse racing.
Yeah.
Here we are on level 2 of the grandstand. And this is the grand view of Santa Rosa Park, beautiful Santa Rosa Park, the home of Caribbean racing, right here in Trinidad, Trinidad's very own racetrack.
Amazing. This is definitely. Nicholas, I'm here and I'm just so excited. The ambience is amazing. I can just imagine what happens on race day, right? I was looking at the track and Nicholas was telling me that, they are very proud here at the Santa Rosa Park because in the Caribbean, our track here at Santa Rosa is probably the only one with turf and road.
It is a fact that we are both proud, and it is. We have the only track in the Caribbean with a turf course and a dirt track. And the circumference from winning pole to winning pole is 1,700 meters, or a mile and a 16.
And that's amazing.
Yeah. So right here is where I sit on a race day and call the races, and they're off. And we'll get a glimpse of that as well a bit later on. And if you look out there with the camera, those are the winning poles. Dirt and turf. And then behind that green board, that's where the odds come up. And the payments, and the time of the day, and the time to the race, and the time of the race, and all that sort of stuff.
And you know what I like the most, right? The winner's circle.
The winner's circle. They, when the winner comes back, their owners collect them, and they proudly lead them into the winner's circle.
Yeah. So this sport is definitely one of pride. Many people when they're betting, and your ego is on the line.
There are many owners. In fact, there's a guy who sits right in front of me. His name is Bhaskar Masal. Have you ever heard of Big Man in Town?
Yeah.
Big Man in Town. The owner of Big Man in Town sits here, and he always boasts, and very proudly too, of his trophy room that he has for Big Man in Town and other horses that he has owned over the years.
You know what thrills me the most? It's the names of these horses. I love how you all come up with the names and all these different names. What's the process that goes into that?
Well, that is pretty simple. Sometimes you come to the track to name a horse, and something happens along the way. Like, for instance, there's a horse by the name It Could Be Anybody. That's fun, calling during a race. Up the backstretch they go, It Could Be Anybody in front. That's fun. There's another horse that goes by the name of This One's for Ron. That was named after a best friend of a bunch of guys who are in horse races. He died, and he just won the Gold Cup and the Stewards Cup.
Yeah, you're telling me This One's for Ron, and I definitely know. Viewers and listeners who look at our sportscasts on radio and TV geography, that horse has been making headlines week after week after week. And it's amazing that we can actually come down here and you bring that horse up. All right, what do you think is the future for that horse? I mean, he's really been making the headlines. I had him in my newscast about 3 times.
3 times, yes. Yeah. He's won 3 stakes races in a row. He's about 7 years old now, so he has a lot of racing still in him. The new year has just begun, so the next time we'll be seeing This One's for Ron is probably in March in the Champagne Stakes.
I definitely want to come to that.
Yeah. But the next big day of racing, other than the 13th, which is coming up, which is more or less an ordinary day, will be on the 27th of January, when we'll see the best of the Caribbean run on the green stuff, the grass, in the Caribbean Turf Championship.
Alright, okay. So viewers and listeners, at this time we're going to end this aspect of, talking about the actual physical layout, talking about the commentating and all these different things. I really want to encourage you all to come down and support local culture. We have such a beautiful, setting here at Santa Rosa Park. The entire atmosphere, it's amazing. And if we don't support our local culture, who will? So to all our viewers and listeners tuned in to Sports Edge, I'm sure you all are very excited, just as I am. You know, we're here at the Santa Rosa Park in Arima. You all can definitely see the paddock. The horses are all being prepared, you know, because there's a competition coming up very soon. I think it's on the 16th or the 17th of January. And we're just here going to actually walk towards a jockey where he's going to tell us a bit about, you know, preparation for races, what he does as a jockey. So I invite you to, you know, to follow me as we meet up with Naim Samaru, and he'll take us through a bit of the details. Hi Naim.
Hi, morning.
Welcome to the show. Alright, so can you tell us a bit about your role and what do you do here at the stable?
My role is jockey. We get up at 4:35 in the morning. We get to the track at 5:30. Wait for the horses. The guys bring the horses up front.
Yeah.
You know, they need them around. They should not tell us what to do out on the track. So mostly that's our job in the morning time.
Okay, and what is the average weight?
My weight is about 112, 150. It depends. You know, sometimes it goes up, it goes down. It's a little hard to maintain at my height.
Okay, and what has been, you know, the most recent competition that you took part in?
You know, I went to Canada for 3 years. I've been champion jockey for 4 years in Canada. So that's most.
Alright, and if you had to compare, you know, your experience in Trinidad and Tobago as opposed to, you know, being a jockey in Canada,
Yeah.
what would you say?
It's much different here than over there.
Alright, tell me, when you say different.
You know, it's a faster thing over there. It's
Yeah.
a smaller track. You know, over here it's a bigger track. So, and the weights are more different. So it's pretty much different.
Okay, so preparing for race day, you as a jockey, what goes into that preparation?
Well, on Saturday, from Saturdays you gotta you need to do some weight, and you go to jog soon, maybe lie down, relax, you know, and get yourself ready for races. So you have to be calm as possible.
You're telling me lose some weight, right? How do you go losing that weight so
No.
quickly?
Well, jockeys have ways of losing weight. There are many things you can do to lose weight.
Alright, tell me please.
You sweat, you put the plastic on, you can sweat, you can go jog and stuff like that. So there's lots of ways.
You know, that seems very interesting because, I mean, today, you know, you have a race coming up in a week, right? And then, you know, you have to, what is the average weight to be a jockey?
Some guys are light, some guys are heavy. So it depends on, like my height, I weigh 112, 113, depends. So that's the maximum for a guy like me.
Yeah. Okay, you're saying some are light and some are heavy, but I'm walking around here at the stable and everybody in my mind seems light. What is
No.
your definition of light and heavy?
Some guys weigh like 96 pounds, 86
And
pounds.
that's heavy?
That's light.
Okay,
That's
and
light.
what is heavy?
Heavy is like 115, 16 for
Jockey.
yeah.
Alright, so viewers and listeners, all of you who are tuned in and excited about today's show, I just want you all, you know, to note the weight. That is a very important factor for jockeys here at the stable in Santa Rosa Park. Where he'll explain to us so much more that actually goes into the sports of horse racing. Now, I want to share something with you all. I was just speaking to one of the jockeys and I was thinking, you know, the term big-hearted, it's just a bit of history for y'all to know, right? Do you all know where that term came from? Well, big-hearted was actually linked with horse racing, right? So, for those of you who don't know, big-hearted came about when people would normally say, long ago, when horse racing now started, they would actually say that those horses with the larger hearts, they had an advantage over the average size ones. So again, just something for you all to know, a fun fact. That's where the term big-hearted came from. So based on my experience here walking through the Santa Rosa Park, training is definitely an important aspect when it comes to the horse and an actual part of horse racing. So with me on the show at this time, I have Glenn Mendes, trainer. He's been here for as long as, you know, he said he's known. And we're going to be chatting with him about what actually takes place on the field and the training process. So I hope you all enjoy. Alright, so welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Alright, Mr. Glenn. So I want you to tell our viewers and listeners a bit about the things that really takes place behind the scenes that we don't know.
Well, I mean, where would you like to just start from the beginning. We get the babies, what we call them babies, and they come in as either yearlings or early 2-year-olds. And basically what you're doing is it's like if you, just the same as if you have a young athlete and you're teaching them from scratch. So that these horses coming here, all they know would have been being led with a halter. So they've never experienced probably a saddle on their back, a bridle in their mouth, you know, any a ride on their back. They've never experienced these things. You start from that. So basically the process is you start by putting the saddle on them in their stall when they're comfortable. You put the saddle on them, you put a bridle on them, and then you start to lead them out. And just for a few days, you know, you lead them out and around until they get accustomed. And again, the first time you're putting the ride on their backs, you do it in their stall again where they're comfortable and least likely to, you know, react. That's it. When they're accustomed to that again, then we take them out with the rider and start to lead them around the stable, and then eventually we get to doing figure eights, which is where they learn control, the commands from the rider and the rein, pull left, pull right, go in a circle, go in another circle, do figure eight. And when we're comfortable with how they're responding to that, then we'll kind of go to the small track. They'll go there and they'll start to trot, and you know, gradually the program kicks in. They start off trotting and then they go to cantering, and then from there they develop slowly, and it's a very, very long process.
So you have an actual program that these horses follow?
Yeah, well, everybody has their own program, of course, right? So I, as trainer Glenn Mendez, would have my own program. John O'Brien may have his, and every trainer would have their own little tweaks to it, you know. But there are basic things that we all have to do to get them to a certain level.
Yeah, but how do you all deal with a horse that doesn't really respond the way you want it to?
Well, I mean, then you know, we go to experience and we try different things. You know, I have one, for instance, he's a brilliant horse, Whisper Light. You know, most people know him in the racing industry. And but he's what we'll call, he's very, very temperamental. And it's very, very hard to train him. You can't really put him on a program. He does what he wants to do.
I like that horse already.
Okay. So what we do with him, for instance, is carry him somewhere where he's comfortable. Again, he's more comfortable on the small track. Most of the older horses will train on the big track. But he's more comfortable on the small track. And we just let him do what he wants, basically. And once a week or once every 2 weeks, when I really want to put a piece of work in him, I would carry him to the only place he would work from, which is from any chute from the gate or from alongside the gate, in company with another horse, and then I would give him a piece of work that way. He would go that way, and he would go. So his speed is slow or fast. You know, so there's no in between with him. So I just have to gauge his fitness from the pieces of work that I give him. So hard to put him on a program. So there are horses like that. But most of them would, you know, you would be able to put on a regular program and train them. There are some that may rebel a little bit when they're young, especially when they first go into training. So the first few days or the first week or two, they go well and nice and quietly. But then they decide, like teenagers or something, hey,
they just want to do their
I don't really like what you're doing with me. I prefer to stay on stick. And I prefer to stay in the store. So sometimes they rebel, and you just get them past it, you coax them past it, and then once they get to that a better level of fitness, they start to enjoy the work. And then they want to do more. And so you progress from there.
Alright, well that's very exciting, and you know, many people who are tuning, I'm sure they would appreciate that piece of information that you just shared with us. Now I want to ask you, you've been around the Santa Rosa Park for a while, right?
Yes, I have.
How long?
25 years now.
Alright, what would you say in relation to the development of the actual infrastructure and, you know, how the club has been running and all these different things? What would you say?
Well, you get them into the politics and you think, no, you looking to put me in trouble.
No. You can just, you know, tell us, you know, how the park has developed since, you know, since you've known it.
Well, I mean, basically, there has not been too much infrastructural change. We've had some new stables built over the years and stuff. Some of the older ones broken down. We've had a new vet barn built. Basically, the stands are the same. The track has been the same since 1994. You know, from time to time we do a major overhaul and refurbishment of the surface. We added in the turf track at some point, and that's a plus. And so not too much has changed in terms of infrastructure, but it's workable.
Yeah. If you had, to describe what you do on a daily basis in one word, what would you say?
In one word,
Yeah.
what I do.
Yeah.
Enjoy myself. That's 2 words.
Yeah.
Training is my hobby. Horses are my hobby,
Yeah.
and training is just a plus.
Yeah.
So it's a combination for me. So I look forward to going to work every day, and I'm here and I'm happy. Once I'm here, I'm happy.
And that's amazing because when we do what we love, you never really work a day in your life.
Right, that's what I said. Enjoy myself. It's just,
Yeah.
I enjoy it.
Yeah, so coming here is just amazing for you.
Yes.
Alright, so viewers and listeners, I hope you all definitely learned a bit or two from Mr. Mendez. And we're going to be showing you so much more. So I invite you to sit back and relax. Stay with us. Of course, we just got some of the information from Mr. Glenn Mendez, and now he's actually going to get down one-on-one with the horse and explain to us all the different aspects that goes into training the horse. So I hope you enjoy.
Alright, so we can get to some of the equipment that we have golden bit here. This of course is a halter. You put this over their head to lead them around and control them. Normally you would just use the chain over his nostrils here, but because he's a little bit animated this morning, he's just come off the track, and we're using what you have called a lip shank with a chain, and it goes on his lip here, and that tends to kind of what you would say manners them, right?
Yeah.
That's basically what it does. So he'll be a little more controllable with that on. This here, that goes over his ears, across his brow, and this into the bit is this whole setup here is called the bridle. And this here, this metal piece here in his mouth, goes into the mouth, and that's what we use for steering. That's called the bit. Right? And then beyond the bit we have the reins, which go from the bit to the rider's hands, and this is what the rider controls the horse with. Left, right, kick back, control. And the saddle, of course, right? Under the saddle we have padding, we have a sponge, a blanket, and his number cloth that will tell you which horse it is. All horses here at Santa Rosa have a number. So the number cloth is used for identifying for the clockers when they're doing their work. This here is a neck strap. This is just additional control and help for the rider. If a horse is being difficult, what they'll do is probably lock their reins and their hands into the neck strap and have a little more control. Here, this is what you call the girth. This fastens to the saddle under the horse's stomach, and that is what keeps the saddle in place, right? And so that basically is the equipment we use. Of course, they're all shod, and you'll see there he has on 4 aluminum plates. It has a lot of sand on them from coming off a wet track. So that's basically the equipment we use. Of course, there are many varieties and different types of equipment you use for various reasons. There are many hundreds of different types of bits, different bridles, different shoes, different saddles. So you have different bits for like aggressive horses. You would use something like maybe a ring bit or a curb bit so that the rider has more control. So lots of different pieces of equipment. These are just, the basics. Then you go to a race day, you use blinkers and figure eights and a whole lot of stuff, for different reasons on a race day. Eye shields, nasal strips. So there's a lot of equipment that we use for different purposes.
Alright, so in anything that we do, diet and nutrition is always very important. So can you, inform our listeners and viewers a bit about the diet and the nutrition for the horses?
Okay, well, basically, horses here in Trinidad are fed what we call street feed. It's a combination of oats, corn, molasses, multi-purpose pellets. You might have some wheat and stuff added in, and other grains. And it's all mixed with molasses, and that's why we call it sweet feed. The molasses, of course, is to make it palatable for the horses. There are different grades, different qualities, different protein contents for different reasons. So like young horses would require higher protein feeds than older horses, and the race horses would require kind of like middle of the road protein. And middle of the road protein is about 14%, which is what we use for racing feeds. For the younger horses, you could go as high as 16% when they're young and growing, and the older horses, you could drop that to about 12%.
Okay.
So that's basically what we use. There are lots of other things people add into their feed. We use in Trinidad mostly fresh cut grass on a daily basis, morning and afternoon. Some people use hay, which is dried grass. Some people use alfalfa pellets or cubes that they import. It's all based on an individual's program and what they want to put into their horse. So there's a wide variety. Linseed, some people believe in boiling linseed and other stuff and using that on their horses. So each trainer would taper their feed to suit their needs, right? And then of course, what you don't get in the feed itself, you supplement with vitamins. But as a trainer, I use what is tried and trusted and tested by me, and has proven successful for me, because every day there's a new product on the market, and there, literally hundreds of thousands of horse products out there that you can use. So my basic would be, I like to use a multivitamin that I can feed. That's my base supplement every day. Then I use shark oil, some honey. I would use vitamin E. I like to use vitamin E. I found that vitamin E sort of saves them from developing bony issues. Like bony growth issues, like joints and stuff.
If you had, to give our viewers and listeners any sort of advice if they wanted to get involved in coming down and actually becoming a jockey or being around the horses and stuff, what would you say?
Okay, well, anybody wanting to get into racing as a career in whatever form or fashion, be it as a groom, be it as a trainer, be it as a jockey, there's one thing you would need, and that is a lot of heart and a lot of commitment. This is not an easy industry. As a jockey, it's very, very tough, because remember, you have to catch weight and you have to remain light. So it's a tough life for a jockey. And dedication as a trainer, we're going to give the chances to the guys that we see working the hardest and continuously working the hardest, right? As a trainer, we don't have vacation ready. I'm here Christmas morning, I'm here Juve morning, I'm here New Year's morning, so it's commitment, so you must be willing to put that sort of commitment and dedication into your job. As a groom, it's just like the trainer. We with the horses all the time. They spend the most time with the horses, and so they're here almost every day.
So as he said, you need to have a lot of heart, a large heart, when it comes to being around the stable and just your love for horses. And again, that goes back to the fun fact that I shared with you all. The term large-hearted, it actually dates back to horse racing way back when it began. They said that, it's actually proven that the horses with the larger hearts actually did better than the ones with the average size.
That's true.
That's
been proven.
Well, we have come to the end of another successful episode of Sports Edge, more than just a game. I hope that this episode was just as informative and fun for you as it was for me. I invite you to join me next week from 5 to 5:30 p.m. for another episode of Sports Edge, more than just a game.